Hello, and welcome to Life Lessons with Barbara. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Barbara Aline Johnson, and I'll be sharing lessons I've learned, mostly the hard way, from my many years of life experience, and some I've learned from others during almost 40 years as a counselor, therapist, life coach, and consultant. I am the owner of BEJ and Associates, a transformational coaching and consulting company. My team and I specialize in dismantling barriers that stand between you and the life you truly want to live. And I want to take a moment to give a huge shout out to Black Wall Street Radio for this amazing opportunity that allows me to spend this time with you. And if you like the smooth jam you're hearing, well, that's none other than lead guitarist extraordinaire Lois Lady Mac McMorris doing her signature piece called After the Rain. To download After the Rain and to hear more of her tunes and to even visit her website, go to my website, bej-associates.com/radio. And you can also hear as well as see past shows in our archive. So again, that's bej-associates.com/radio. And for today's show, I am excited to introduce yet another fantastic associate with my company, BEJ and Associates. And his name is Michael Goulding. So stay tuned. You're listening to Life Lessons with Barbara. Thank you again for tuning in, and today I am introducing another one of my fabulous associates with BEJ and Associates, and this is Michael Goulding. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi.
Okay, so how we met? We met at church. That's where we met, and then we had so many things in common that we joined a mastermind group together, and we started working together so we could help each other meet our goals. Mm-hmm. So that is how we met.
Yes.
So a little bit about myself. Is that how you remember it too?
Yeah. But you could elaborate because they've heard. This is the fourth time they're hearing about this mastermind group. But there's something really unique about it that we've all mentioned. So it's your turn to mention it. And unique about our. Okay, I'll give you a clue. Marathon meeting. Our meetings went on forever.
Yeah. The meetings went on forever. Yes, we just kept talking and talking. We had plenty to talk about and plenty to laugh about and joke about and plenty of ways to help each other.
Exactly. And we went beyond the professional and also shared a lot of our personal stuff. So we all became pretty close.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So What about you, Michael? Where'd you come from? How'd you get here, and what kind of skills did you bring along the way?
Okay, well, I'm from a small town in western New York, about an hour south of Buffalo, called Dunkirk, New York. And I actually started off, wanted to do something in media, and got my undergrad degree in media. And that eventually evolved into something where I started wanting to help people and wanting to help people by, doing therapy for them and helping them with their personal problems and their emotional problems. One of my life's missions is to help people meet their emotional needs.
Yeah.
So being a mental health therapist and being a licensed clinical social worker is a great way to do that.
Yes. But you started out with this love for media. Was it
I did.
to film or to be behind the
I,
scenes, to
I
create?
it was to create. It was to be behind the scenes, to be a cameraman and to edit and do all aspects of production, and eventually to directing and things like that. And I still have that dream now.
Wow, yeah, I know you do. I am I didn't know this. I didn't know you had an educational background in it. This is all new to me. I thought this was just something that just you got stung by the bug, just a few years ago, a couple of years ago. But this has been with you for a long time.
It has been with me for a long time, and in 2009, I think this is what you're referring to. There was something in the wind that inspired me to write a movie. And I wrote the movie, and I started asking around as to how to make that into a reality. And as I got to know people and things like that, I started to find out that a lot of people wanted it to be more than just a movie because there was too much story there, and people wanted more of the story, so they wanted it to be a TV series. So I have written 6 episodes of a TV series.
6 episodes?
Yes.
And so this was something that you created back in 2009? Did you say 2009?
2009.
Really?
Yeah.
You kept that a big secret. You didn't tell tell for a long time.
I didn't tell. And I actually had the idea a long time before that. It took me a few years to get around to actually writing it down on paper. So.
Oh. So that's been a long time coming. And it sounds like, well, I want to take you back to, before you launched that project, and because you did somehow segue, but from the, doing the media thing to doing what? Talking, helping people cope with their emotional issues and their mental issues. How did you make that leap?
Correct.
Or what was the thing that got you there?
I know exactly what got me there. I was working at a YMCA camp, and I was working with the kids, and I was doing high ropes courses and initiatives courses, basically trying to get people to go over the 12-foot wall, or everybody
to overcome their fear
of
heights. Is that what that is?
Yeah, and to work through their fears and to cooperate and collaborate in that. And I really started enjoying that. And I was given an opportunity to videotape things part of the day. And I was given the opportunity to work with the kids the other part of the day. And I found that when I was working with the kids, it was very easy for me to get there on time. I seemed to get there much faster and enjoy myself, and seemed to get from one point of the day to the next a lot faster. And then when I would do the video, it was slower for me, and that seemed to be more cumbersome. And I thought, maybe I need to listen to this. And I ended up going back to graduate school so I could become a therapist and work with people.
Has this experience, working with people, kind of enhanced your love for media and writing exciting stories to entertain people with?
It
it's
does.
like you
So one of my life's missions is to take this information that I'm telling people sessions, and I have a private practice in town here, and I'm doing really well with that. But what I notice is I'm repeating myself. I say a lot of the same things from session to session, and I thought to myself, wouldn't it be nice if I could create some media, whether it was something written down or something that's video or something like that, that can help people, a whole bunch of people all at once, so people can have like this amount of information, their lives can be this much better.
Yeah.
So that's a real mission for me, to get these messages out there that have been very helpful to people.
Right.
And some of that I've been doing through self-help work and writing books and things like that, and articles and that.
Yeah.
But
We're going to talk about your book at the end of this. Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to let you know
but I
that.
think
Yeah.
what really helps. Oh, thank you. I think what really helps people is if they can kind of see something happening in a story, and they can get that information in the story. So that's something I want to accomplish through this storyline that I'm working on with the script.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm starting to see a theme, a commonality among us. It's like, it's more wanting to impact more people with our efforts.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's why, I added this other component, because the one-on-one is beautiful, but like you said, it's repetitious, and then there's so many out there that you can't get to one-on-one. And okay. It just dawned on me. It's kind of, the one-on-one is wonderful, and you never want to stop doing that, right? Isn't that something that's always going to be a part of you to do?
It is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but with the media, just like I'm doing radio, I mean, with the media, you can impact a lot more people. So
Absolutely.
How about that? Yeah, maybe webinars are in our future. I mean, but you may be in Hollywood and you wouldn't have any time for us anymore. Right?
I got to get you a part.
Yeah, right? Yes. No, really. I want a part at least in one of the episodes. It doesn't have, but I do have to speak. At least even if it's just a little phrase or something. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, okay. Really, I'm good. I really am.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. I kind of want to spend some time talking about the kinds of things that we do together as a part of BEJ and Associates. And well, that almost requires that we talk about your book now as opposed to later, right? Because
sure.
I think what you bring to what we do when we work as a team with people in a workplace setting, you talk about protecting your inner peace. Ta-da.
Oh, there it is. There's the book.
It is. But the listening audience they don't get to see the book, but they know that they can go to bej-associates.com and they can see any of these shows that I've done, as well as hear them. So that's how you do it. bej-associates.com. Okay. Protecting your inner peace. Tell us about what inspired you to write this book.
Well, the original story is when I was a teenager, I was taking Kung Fu, and the idea hit me. And when I say it hit me, I don't mean just metaphorically. I mean, I was literally punched in the face. I was doing an exercise of blocking and striking and doing all this stuff and martial arts. And what happened is somebody was doing the exercise and I did not block it. And as a result, the guy kind of just hit me across the face. It wasn't hard,
On purpose?
It woke me up.
Uh-huh.
Well, it was an exercise. He wasn't meaning to hurt me. He was just trying to do an exercise.
Uh-huh.
And my Kung Fu teacher came over and he said, "Whose fault is that?" And when somebody asks you whose fault it is, whose fault is it usually?
Yours.
I was like, yeah, it's my fault. So he explained to me that, within your arm's reach, I'm holding out my arms here, within your arm's reach.
Well, if you back up, we can see more. If you can push the camera away, the computer. Yeah. Okay. All right. Those of you who can't see, he's got his arms spanned out, and he's go ahead and tell them what you just did. The people who have
so my arms are shoulder length, or shoulder height, and I'm twisting at the waist. I'm forming a circle with my arms. And basically, he was explaining that you can't control anything that's beyond that reach of your arms, but once something enters that space, it's up to you to manage it. And that lesson always stuck with me. And it was valuable information when I was learning how to do therapy with other people. Because I can't control what other people do. I can only control what I do.
Wow, what a powerful lesson. That's a good lesson learned, everybody. A good life lesson. Thank you, Michael. I'm going to use that one.
Sure.
So, how did you get from having this realization to writing this book?
Okay. Well, eventually I moved on to Aikido. And Aikido is a martial art. It's called the Art of Peace. And it's called the Art of Peace because in Aikido, you can still defend yourself, but you don't have to harm the other person in doing that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to write a book because I'm a martial artist and because I'm a therapist, that maybe there's a way that could be very helpful to people where they could still protect themselves but not harm the people that are close to them. Because it's very easy to do something like hang up the phone if you have someone who called you and they're pestering you about buying something. And you don't want that phone call. You can just hang up on that person and there's no consequence for that. But that doesn't work so well if it's your boss or if it's your wife or another family member or something like that.
It's a little more complicated.
Don't try that. I already have. So you don't need to try that. So what I've done is I've come up with ways that you can still protect yourself without having to harm the other person by taking charge of your space and doing what you need to do to feel good about yourself. So when other people attempt to put you down and things like that, you don't have to buy into that. So we all have things to manage in that space. We all have things that we need to take care of. If we cook something, for example, it's probably a good idea that we clean up after ourselves instead of leaving that for somebody else. If we drop something, we should pick it up. We try to keep our problems and our situations to ourselves to a point, like with coworkers and things like that. And then the more special relationships we can share our problems with in that. But we don't want to be the person who's always a burden to other people. And at the same time, we don't want to be a doormat either and take on everybody else's stuff and be manipulated and have our energy drained by doing things that really should be done by other people. So there's this kind of
boundaries.
conflict.
Yeah.
Boundaries, absolutely. There's a lot of boundary talk in this book. And there's a lot of evidence that talks about that the people who are better at resolving conflict do better in their jobs and in their businesses, because the issue that holds people back is if they sense that there's a conflict, a lot of times people either avoid it or they handle it so directly and so bluntly that they end up offending people and hurting people, and that just weakens their position. So I offer a third alternative to that, to protect your inner peace without having to harm the other person.
Okay. And so when it is a situation like that, when you realize, sometimes people manipulate us or pull our strings and we don't really realize that that's what's happening. But once you realize it, what do you suggest people do in response to that? To hope, is the goal to change the other person's behavior towards you?
No, the goal is for you to feel good about yourself and to protect your boundaries, because you can't control what the other person does.
Okay.
So I will give you an example.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I use this a lot in my workshops, but say you're having an important dinner. It could be dinner with a relative or spouse or something like that, or someone out of town, or another person who's a business, someone that's part of your business, or colleague or customer or client or something like that. And one of your other clients spots you in the restaurant and they're elated because they're struggling with something that you can help them resolve. And they make a beeline to your table and they start talking about their problem, and they talk about it as if it's this urgent crisis. And as you're listening to them talk, you realize that it's really not a crisis, and this can completely wait. And you have some difficult choices to make at that point. On the one hand, if you're too direct and you're too blunt and you say, "Hey, can't you see I'm talking to somebody else here?" That can really damage your relationship with that client.
I was going to say, not good for business.
Not good for business, no. So I wouldn't recommend that one.
No, okay.
And the other one is you can sit there for hours and they're not picking up on any social cues whatsoever, and you're sitting there with your head in your hand.
I've seen people do that. They just take it all in like a sponge.
They just take it all in like a sponge, and they just wait it out and wait it out. And you could talk to that person for 3 hours and they still might not be happy with you at the end of that. So you need to do what makes you happy for yourself. Yeah. So you have two things to address. You have your needs of that, dealing with the person who you originally had the meeting with at the table. And then you have your customer's needs, who's coming up to you saying they're in crisis. So you need to take a couple of steps that are very counterintuitive, but once you get this down, it makes life a whole lot easier. So I'm going to share a big part of this.
Is there a demonstration associated with it? Or is this something you can just verbalize?
I can do both.
Okay, so go ahead and demonstrate it, because then that will encourage people who are listening to go to bej-associates.com and see this particular show. Okay, but describe it as you do it, okay?
Okay, so
lights, camera, action.
2 people. It requires 2 people. Should I get Cindy in here?
Yeah, and while you're getting her, I can tell my audience, if they haven't figured it out by now, If you haven't figured it out by
Okay.
now, these two people are married to each other. And I'll be interviewing the both of
Yes.
them in another show. Okay. All right. So are you going to describe what you're doing while you do it, right? So
Yep.
Michael's standing there holding Cindy, and he's standing behind her. Okay. Now you take it over from there.
Well, actually, she's going to
Stab you with the
try and
pen?
stab me here. Slowly.
Seriously?
Okay. So I'm gonna have to engage here.
Okay.
And then the next part, I'm gonna have to align. You see, we're both facing the same way.
Now you are, yes.
Yeah. And then I have to convert this where I enter. So as I enter, she's gonna go back like that.
Okay, now don't make me have to call the police on you. I'm witnessing this.
Well, it's Aikido, and Aikido, you don't have to harm the other person to protect yourself.
All right.
So, no bruises.
Okay, great.
You,
now, verbal. Just tell a little bit about. So it looked kind of aggressive, but it wasn't. Is what you're saying, right? What I saw you do.
Right. So you have to align with the person first in Aikido. And also in verbal interactions, you have to align with the person first. And the way that you do that is through validation. So let's go back to our person at dinner.
Yeah.
So they're there at dinner and they're talking about how terrible the situation and how urgent it is. So you want to align with them by saying, that sounds like you've had a really tough time, and I'm sorry that you've had all this struggle. And I want to reassure you, I'm going to help you get through this struggle. Mm-hmm. So that's the alignment
That's
part.
Joining with them, yeah. Aligning with them. Gotcha.
Right. So just like Cindy and I were facing the same way, you want to face the same way as the person you're talking to, in a sense, by validating them. And then the next part of that, though, is you want to communicate. So it's validate, communicate. Okay. And communicating is like entering in Aikido. That's where the wall comes down and you can get the message through.
Is that when you were demonstrating it? Was when you where being connected, holding her arm, you ended up side by side instead of face to face? Hey,
exactly.
I got it.
That's the validation. Yeah, that's the validation part. Yeah.
Okay.
And the entering part is when I took her hand and I brought it over. And then you would say to them, at the same time, I am just not in the headspace right now to deal with this. And as I'm hearing you, it sounds like you're okay. You're going to be okay until tomorrow morning.
Yeah. And maybe that's all they needed to hear from you, or that they were going to be okay.
Right.
Cool.
And what I need you to do is give me a call tomorrow morning. I'll be in a much better place where I can handle this and I can give this my complete and undivided attention and have a much better chance of resolving this for you.
Mm-hmm. So you, in your book, translated those moves and the goals behind them, translated into a way of communicating that comes to this, that brings you to the same outcome. And so there you have a happy client. You didn't, abruptly dismiss them. You did listen long enough to know that they would be okay, that they weren't in crisis. And then you were able to assure them that they'd be all right until tomorrow. when you would, where you would be. And then
Right.
I like the fact that a part of it is you letting them know you're taking care of yourself by saying, I'll be in a better headspace tomorrow to be able to help you much better than now, or something to that effect.
Right. Right. You're
Cool.
modeling. You're modeling for them. You're
Yeah.
modeling for them,
Yeah.
and you're resolving two things. You're meeting your needs, and you're
Mm-hmm.
meeting the other person's needs at the same time.
Yes.
And usually we get caught in this trap that we have to do one or the other. And that's not true. You can meet both people's needs at the
Right.
same time.
And that scenario that you gave, that happens a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
I think what you did instinctively, that maybe, just sharing this, maybe other people will think, oh, well, maybe I should, maybe stop and look at it that way, is that it's not necessarily their goal to infringe or, infringe on you or on your freedom or whatever. It's, it's more about them and where they are. And I think that
Right.
usually when somebody's coming at us like that, first of all, that's rude. That's the first thing you think. And then
Right.
you want to check them. You want to, say, hey, this ain't okay, but that ends up in a totally different way. And so this is really good stuff, Michael. I think the book is excellent, and I loved how you have translated it into, how to use it in everyday life with people. It's been good. Yeah, give us one more example. We'll have the audience. They'll have all of these cool ways of coping, and
Okay.
life will be easy breezy, right?
All right. So one of the complaints I get a lot in counseling is dealing with passive aggressive people.
Oh, just like I used to be.
I don't believe it.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
believe it for a second.
Oh, yeah. Ask my first husband. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So the passive aggressive person kind of says one thing, but their nonverbal cues say another thing. So maybe you get a lot of eye rolling or sighs or sucking of teeth, just kind of that, all these indications or certain inflections in their voice, like whatever. Yeah. So there are certain things you can do in that situation. Say that you're talking and maybe you're at a meeting and somebody's doing all these things, and it's really awkward, and it's designed to make things really awkward. The person being passive aggressive wants to make it awkward for you. So the solution to that is to recognize that passive aggressive behaviors are always about emotions, but they're disguised as facts. So
okay. Can you break that down a little more?
So someone might, sure.
Go ahead.
So someone might try to tell you, argue facts with you about something, but really there's a strong emotional charge behind it. So they're trying to sabotage you. So you present an idea at a meeting and the other person doesn't like it, but instead of saying that they don't like it, they say, yeah, I guess I'll do whatever because I have to do it. And again, eye rolling, head bobbing, sighs.
Yeah.
So the way to deal with that is, the validation part. I'm kind of picking up on some things that tell me that you're not okay with that, and I would like you to be okay with this because I want to have a good working relationship with you, and I want to make sure things are good between us. And at the same time, I'm sensing that you're having a problem with this. And first you state the facts. I got a little out of order here. But you say, I'm seeing a lot of head bobbing, eye rolling.
So you're describing the behavior. You
describe the facts first.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you do is you talk about your interpretation of the facts. And you say, how I interpret that is that you're upset with something, and I just wanted to check my interpretation against what you're actually feeling, right? Because interpretations can be wrong. Eye rolling and sighing is not an interpretation. Again, you don't say that part to them, but so that's the factual
I was going to say,
the interpretation,
because that would put them on a defensive, and this wouldn't work.
Yep. So the interpretation part is, I'm sensing that there's a problem here, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Now, 9 times out of 10, the passive-aggressive person will be, no.
Yeah.
What's that?
They'll back off.
Yes.
Because they don't really like confrontation, right?
Right. That's why they're passive. So that goes straight to the emotions. And people, since emotions are at the core of everything, that can be a very scary thing for people. So people can kind of go, whoa, and back off like that. So the ideal answer would be, yes, I do have a problem, and here's what it is, and let's work it out.
They never do that, though, right?
Once in a while.
Will they? Sometimes?
I'm saying that's the goal. That's the goal.
So with BEJ and Associates, we got a request to provide case management training. And so what we typically do when we prepare a proposal is to find out what it is they need specifically. And we assess whether we can meet that need or not. And so what we heard as really their highest priority is that they wanted their case managers to be able to negotiate better with people who were in high stress situations, who were anxious, distraught, difficult. And so Michael applied his teachings in his book, Finding Your Inner Peace, to create a course or a workshop called Dealing with Difficult People. So he's going to talk about that now. Stay tuned.
Some of the main people that people struggle with are bullies, people who have a higher position of power, and they use that power or abuse that power to get their needs met. Instead of using a healthy coping skill. And it's very damaging to the relationships, and it's done by intimidation and fear versus connecting and being a team player. And that's very destructive. And then I also have techniques for dealing with the hypocrite, people who say high ideals and at the same time they have very lowly behaviors. The words don't match the actions, in other words. So these are some of the challenging situations that I talk about in the workshop and I talk about in the book, that it's very difficult to overcome if you don't have the right techniques. Also, if there's a stonewalling situation where you're trying to get information and someone has some level of expertise and they're just like saying no, or I don't know, or something, and not giving you enough information, that can be a real barrier. And I can give a real life example of when I use this particular technique.
Please do. I love real life examples.
Okay. So this is a very dramatic moment in our lives. Cindy and I had just gotten married. It was literally 1 month to the day, our 1 month anniversary from when we got married. And I am watching her getting loaded into an ambulance to be taken to the hospital.
Cindy?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I never heard this story before.
You never heard the story?
No.
Okay. So more things you're learning about me, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So she was taken to the hospital, and she spent several days there because they found something in an x-ray that they were concerned about with all of her headaches. And after keeping her there, they didn't really see anything that was dangerous. And they said, well, you can go. And the doctor kept saying, you can go, you can go. And I said, well, here's the problem.
Yeah.
She came here because she had headaches. She still has headaches. And he was like, just keeping her in the hospital is just going to expose her to more infection and disease here. And I'm like, but she still has the headaches. And he just wasn't getting what I was saying. So I said to him, I said, if I was your brother and this was your sister-in-law here, what advice would you give to us as the next step that we need to take? And he was just so narrowly focused. He finally went, oh, and his eyes got really big. I mean, a brilliant
He never
doctor.
thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Wow.
We always say that joke, this isn't brain surgery here. Well, this guy was a brain surgeon. And he's a great guy. And when I finally said that, he said, I'm here to tell you the best possible news I can tell a person. And that's, I don't have to operate on her brain. And the next step she needs to do is she needs to see a neurologist. And we went to see a neurologist, and essentially it was something very basic. It was like a tension headache or something like that. And just with some exercise and some stretching, she's 100%, back to being better. But we had a real scare there, and I was really struggling because I could not get information from this doctor. So I had to break it down to him and turn us into human beings. So
now Michael's going to give us his take on an ancient practice that could easily be applied to today's politics, especially, but in everyday life. So stay tuned.
This is something I'm very passionate about, and I call it, well, I don't call it this, but it's a very old law. And, before Islam, there was Christianity. Before Christianity, there was Judaism. And before Judaism, there was the Kabbalah. And people, the Kabbalah, the tree of life. And people started writing things down about 6,000 years ago, but people don't know how long exactly the oral tradition went on for. But it was passed down through the ages, thousands of years. And one of these things that ancient people knew a long time ago is something we're seeing very much in today's world, particularly our political arena. And it's called the law of polarity. And basically, you have two extremes. And if you throw a lot of emotion or have a lot of emotional charge with intent to harm the other side wants to respond with an equal amount of force.
Yeah, polarity.
And so if people are harming each other, it's just going to go back and forth. The Hatfields and the McCoys, and
Yeah.
thousands of other examples throughout history where people are going against each other. So when you're polarized, you're either leaning too far forward or too far back, and it's a disempowering thing. So the more polarized you are, the more disempowered.
Well, are you talking figuratively, or what's the other one? I mean, are you talking leaning in attitude or
both,
leaning physically? Oh, okay.
Both. It's a universal truth that fits all situations. So I'll show you physically. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to back up here. So if I'm leaned over like this,
mm-hmm.
That's a bad position for me to be in. I could fall.
He's bending over, y'all.
If I'm leaning, and if I'm leaning back, someone can push
can fall
me back.
Backwards. Yeah.
Fall backward.
Uh-huh.
So these are, you're at a real disadvantage with that. So mm-hmm. if you're standing up straight in a nice stance, I better back up here. Mm-hmm. So if you're standing up straight, then you have an advantage, and people can't push you around as much.
Yeah. Okay. So are you really talking about physical posture?
I'm talking about physical posture. I'm also talking about emotional posture as well.
Uh-huh.
So imagine you're at a meeting at work, and some of us have to imagine because we've had this happen to us, and someone stands up and they're like, I can't believe how incompetent you are, and they start attacking you verbally.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're already standing up, and so
they're already standing up, and you might be sitting, and if you respond with the same level and you say, you don't talk to me that way, you better back off, or kind of something like that. Well, you have gotten off balance. That other person has decided your mood for you. They have manipulated your mood.
Yes.
They have brought you from a good balanced state to an angry, unbalanced state. And now they have the advantage.
Yeah.
So if a boss is in the room, or other people are in the room who can make decisions about you, or as a group, people can make decisions about you, they now see two people yelling at each other.
Mm-hmm.
But let's use this to our advantage and take that balanced approach. So there's three columns in the tree of life. You can pick one side or the other, or you can pick the center column, which is the balanced column. You also see this in the yin and yang with the S curve.
Oh, yeah.
That you see.
That symbol.
Yeah. So, and again, these are the roots of the Abrahamic faiths of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Mm-hmm. So it's very powerful stuff. And when you are balanced like that, you are in control. So in that situation with the meeting, and somebody's attacking you like that, it's completely okay to lean forward.
Uh-huh.
And
so what does that do?
Well, it's basically showing the person that you're in charge of yourself, and that you're not being changed by their interaction.
Forward. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not a kind of afraid, leaning back kind of expression.
Or aggressive, like, being,
Right.
Yeah.
I hear you, and I'm not intimidated by this message.
Mm-hmm.
And
cool.
You can respond calmly and say something like, please lower your voice.
Mm-hmm. Very calmly.
I can hear you just fine without you having to yell. This is a professional meeting. We don't need to be yelling at each other and scolding each other. Now, how can we solve this problem?
Oh, cool.
Now, who's in
Kind of
control
reminds
now?
me of Don Corleone, you know, very soft spoken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you could end up dead with him. This is not the same thing. But
he was in
I
control.
can see how that would work.
That's a good metaphor, because Sonny, for people who've seen
he was
The Godfather,
hothead. Yeah,
Sonny was the hothead, and he lost control, and he, as a result, lost control. I'll just leave it at that. If you haven't seen the movie.
Don't want to give it away.
Right.
But it didn't end well for him.
It did not end well for him.
No.
But it does teach us a valuable lesson to have exact change at the toll booth.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's a life lesson. I need,
right.
I'm trying to pick a few morsels up along the way, but there's a lot coming out of this.
But you compare his style, Sonny's style, to Michael Corleone's style.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Michael was cool. Is that who you modeled yourself after? Your namesake?
I'm too nice.
Yeah. No, you're a nice guy. Yeah, you really are.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And is there any more you want to say about your movie? I mean, is it too soon to start getting people excited and anxious to see it? I mean, not movie, but TV series?
The TV series.
Yeah, then I'm going to star in. No, I'm not going to star, but I'll be.
I will tell you kind of where the status is with this, that I do have a production company who is interested in it, and I do have a Hollywood director who's directed over 500 television episodes, and he's worked in movies and that, and it's coming along nicely. I don't want to give anything more away than that.
Yeah, no, I don't want you to do that.
Things solidify a little bit more.
But Michael, that is awesome. You were sitting on that for how long did we meet? Our mastermind group met about 3-4 years, and that didn't come out until towards the end. So, but I bet I know what the deal is. When you want something, when something is so near and dear to your heart, you just want to protect it, right?
You do.
But now you have to let the world share it with you.
That's right.
Yeah, but you're still not going to tell anything. But I mean, at least, do you have an idea about when it'll be out there?
And how TV series are doing it now? They did it differently in the past, but how they do it now is you have 6 episodes, and based on the ratings of how those 6 episodes work, determines whether they're going to put forth the money to have future episodes.
You do more, right. So I thought that 6 sounded familiar. So when are the auditions? Because I don't want to miss it. I'm serious as a heart attack.
I know you are.
That's on my vision board. I want to be in a movie. Okay. So, TV series is good.
I have some decision.
Well, I mean,
final decision.
I know you don't. No. I would no. I'm a big girl. I know the real. I know the real deal. I just want the opportunity.
You know the deal.
I know the deal. I know, I wouldn't put that on you. If I didn't get the part, I wouldn't be mad at you.
Okay.
I'd be real hurt and disappointed. But I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah.
Okay. Just remember to let me know when the audition. And I'll take it from there. Just let me know the day and time to be there, and I'll do the rest myself. So I have another friend who's in the process of doing a movie, and any of my homies know who I'm talking about, and it's the life of Marlon Briscoe. And I've been begging and whining and and just being a pain in the butt about when they're going to have auditions. So because I know him. I would love to be a part of that. But anyway, that's all about me, and this is not about me today. Okay, so with that, so I just want to, let our listeners know about this dynamic duo, and that we will come together again, the three of us, and so you'll get to hear more from them, and to hear, how they interact, and how they model a very positive and and I'd say, ideal relationship. So with that, do you have any last words?
Very special woman.
Yes,
Cindy is a very special woman.
She certainly is. And you're not bad yourself.
Well, thank you.
She wouldn't be with you if there was, if you were. No, you're not bad. You guys are really a beautiful couple, and it's wonderful working with you and watching you work together, and watching how you keep your separate selves, but how you're better, even better together.
Yes, definitely better together.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky to have a friend like you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. So the next time you two will be together, and we'll just sit back and listen to all the wisdom that you'll be sharing. Is there one life lesson you want to leave with the folks? I mean, you've offered a bunch, but just what jumps out at you right now?
Just being calm, and I talk about being like the mirror in my book. If you're agitated and things like that, you lose power. But when you are calm and you don't put emotional charge behind things or hatefulness behind things, then it's like the surface of water, and whatever is being thrown at you gets reflected back at the other person.
Yeah.
So if they intend good things, then good things come back to them. If they intend bad things, then the bad things come back to them. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to be a victim of those bad things.
Yeah. Great. Well, on that note, thank you so much for that.
And thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome. I really enjoyed this. This was fun. You guys are amazing. Thank you again for tuning in to Life Lessons with Barbara. I hope you enjoyed today's show, and that you'll continue to tune in. And don't forget to visit my website, bej-associates.com/radio. There you can download Lady Max After the Rain and listen to other shows that we've done, and to hear this one again and see it as well. And you've already been given your life lesson for the week, so ponder it and incorporate it into your life. Have a beautiful week. Namaste.
BEJ & Associates LLC offers a broad array of services, including life coaching, to help achieve your personal goals, planning, facilitation, and presentations of workshops, seminars, and conferences, various customized services, diverse and personalized addictions intervention, and organizational staff development. We specialize in dismantling barriers to individual and organizational achievement. BEJ & Associates. Enlighten, inspire, motivate at bej-associates.com.